Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. Tonight, we're diving into a blockbuster development that could reshape the entire NFC North hierarchy. Sources close to Halas Hall tell us that four-time Pro Bowler Nick Chubb has agreed in principle to join the Chicago Bears. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's unpack what this means, how it happened, and why it might just be the defining splash of the offseason. Imagine opening a locked conference room at the team facility late one night. The lights are dimmed, spreadsheets flicker on laptop screens listing rushing efficiency metrics, and front office executives lean in around a table stacked with medical reports, cap projections, and play-calling diagrams. At the center lies a single dossier labeled Nick Chubb Proposal, marked Confidential, Eyes Only. It's no longer a rumor, it's a live transaction poised to bring one of the NFL's most devastating running backs to the shores of Lake Michigan. But how did we get here? And what ripple effects await when Chubb's cleats hit Soldier Field turf? Let's rewind to Memorial Day weekend, when whispers of Chubb's willingness to test the open market first emerged. After 7 seasons of thunderous runs in Cleveland, 3 Pro Bowl nods and 2 1,000-yard campaigns, an ACL-MCL injury in 2023, and a broken foot in 2024 left him at a crossroads. Could he replicate his pre-injury brilliance? Or was this a backfield star past his prime? As free agency approached, teams floated offers, but it was the Bears who courted him most aggressively. Multiple league insiders confirmed that GM Ryan Poles traveled to Atlanta for a face-to-face sit-down, presenting a vision of a backfield duo no defense could stop. Chubb at inside power and DeAndre Swift at perimeter speed. Now, the framework is reportedly a 2-year pact worth up to $16 million, with $8 million fully guaranteed in year 1 and a team option for year 2 that kicks in if Chubb logs 200 carries or 1,000 scrimmage yards. Financially, this structure balances risk and reward, protecting the team if injuries recur, while granting Chubb a clear path to prove he's still an elite-level force. Could this mean Chicago is prioritizing immediate impact over long-term obligations? Some observers believe Poles is signaling, "Win now," while others argue it's simply savvy cap management. Leverage the veteran's desire for stability to secure team-friendly terms. On the field, Chubb's fit is almost preordained. Remember, last season when the Bears ranked 18th in rushing efficiency despite DeAndre Swift's near 1,000-yard debut. Under Ben Johnson's zone-heavy, misdirection-infused scheme, defenses rarely knew whether to key on outside stretch or inside counter. Now imagine Chubb's 5.1 yards per carry career average complementing Swift's 3.8. Defenses would have to respect both inside power and perimeter flair. Could this create the kind of balance that turns third and short into guaranteed conversions? Or might it clog lanes if both backs chase tackles rather than one clearing space for the other? Let's break down the numbers. Since entering the league in 2018, Chubb has totaled 7,250 rushing yards on 1,120 carries, averaging 5.1 yards per attempt, the highest rate among any back with at least 1,000 carries in that span. He's forced an average of 0.22 missed tackles per carry, ranking in the top 5 of his position group. In the red zone, he scored 63 touchdowns, a testament to his downhill power and goal line prowess. When he struck for 1,125 yards and 12 scores in 2022, the Browns' offense hummed to 29th ranked sacks allowed, but still produced top 10 rushing output. Now Chicago's revamped line, anchored by Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis, and rookie center Zach Frazier, could provide the ideal springboard for Chubb to shine once more. Fans are wondering if this could be the beginning of the most feared backfield tandem since Sweetness and Sean Alexander. You've heard the hints, you've seen the leaks. Now here's the inside scoop. League sources say Chubb visited Halas. Hall, this past Wednesday, under heavy security, participated in virtual walkthroughs of Ben Johnson's playbook, and even met individually with DeAndre Swift to discuss motion schemes and blocking combos. Could those meetings have sealed the deal? It's possible that first-hand admiration for the offense's potential convinced Chubb that the Bears were the perfect fit. Coaches reportedly showed him custom plays designed to exploit his vision, like counter traps behind pulling guards and pin-and-pull spacing to isolate linebackers. Some insiders believe Chubb left those meetings counting reps mentally, already picturing himself barreling through would-be tacklers on kickoff weekend. Mid-video check-in. If this news has you fired up, hit that like button. Subscribe to Bears News Fan Report and ring the bell so you don't miss the official announcement or any breaking twists. Trust me, you want to be front and center when the press release drops and Chubb's introductory press conference goes live. Back to the storyline. How will this move jolt the rest of the roster? Consider the psychological impact. Offenses often feed off running game success. Sustaining long, clock-eating drives can energize the defense and wear down opponents. Could Chubb's legendary work ethic and locker room leadership further galvanize a team hungry for a playoff breakthrough? Reports from the locker room describe Swift greeting Chubb with a fist bump and words of admiration. "Man, I've watched every highlight. Glad to have you in the backfield." That kind of veteran-youngster camaraderie could accelerate the integration process, turning what might have been an awkward transition into an immediate on-field synergy. Pundits have already begun debating the long-term projections. Some analysts argue that at age 29, coming off 2 lower body injuries, Chubb's prime is behind him, and this is a last-chance payday that might yield a 3.5 YPC floor. Others counter that his per-carry burst on film, his zip in 3 to 5 yard gains, remains intact, and that a lighter workload, perhaps capped at 260 carries instead of 350, could prolong his effectiveness. Could the Bears split carries evenly, say 60% Swift, 40% Chubb, while leaning on pre-snap motions and RPOs to disguise play intent? If so, defenses might never key on one back, giving Johnson the ultimate chess piece advantage. Some insiders believe the true genius of this signing is not the backup to Swift, but the way Chubb transforms entire defensive game plans with minimal timetable. What about the NFC North landscape? Minnesota's defensive shakeup in free agency may have improved their edge rush, but can they withstand a backfield of Chubb and Swift? Green Bay's secondary, already vulnerable after last year's blitz-heavy scheme, could be further exposed if Chubb's hard-nosed press runs render wheel routes and seam crosses obsolete. And don't forget Detroit. Their stout front seven, led by Aiden Hutchinson, will suddenly face a battering ram and a speedster on every 1st and 10. Could this signing be the decisive tilt that hands the Bears a division crown? Fans are already recalculating forecasted win totals, with some odds makers shifting Chicago from a projected 7-10 to as many as 10 wins based solely on run game upgrades. Reactions from the media have been electric. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, yes, the NBA whisperer himself, tweeted an NBA-style "He's with the Tars Bears," source tells me gif before deleting it. Local radio hosts cut promos promising the era of the ground-and-pound Bears is back, while national columnists questioned if this makes Chicago the most complete roster outside of Buffalo and Kansas City. Even NFL Films insiders are circling this as a likely candidate for sign of the offseason. Could this be the move that cements Ryan Poles' legacy as a top-tier GM? Or will critics argue it's a glamorous gamble on a dwindling asset? Now, as we approach the home stretch of this deep dive, let me pose the question that's on every Bears fan's mind. But what do you think about all of this? Are you ready to see Nick Chubb in navy and orange smashing through defensive fronts? Or Do you worry this is a feel-good headline that might fizzle under the weight of expectations? I personally can't wait to watch the first clip of Chubb meeting the media. His steely gaze, that familiar half-smile, and the promise of one more riotous run in front of a raucous Soldier Field crowd sends chills up my spine. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me, how many yards do you predict Chubb will rack up in his Bears debut? Will he eclipse 1,000 yards again? Can Swift maintain or even boost his efficiency in a true committee? Drop your boldest takes. If you enjoyed this epic breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Bears News Fan Report, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Because whether the deal gets signed midnight or next week, we'll be right here unpacking every angle. Thanks for watching, and as always, bear down. The morning after the signing, you could almost feel the electricity in the crisp Chicago air as reports spread through social media that Chubb's visit to Hollis Hall was more than a courtesy call. It was the final piece snapping into place. Veterans arriving for early voluntary workouts swore they heard tape rewinds on Chubb's greatest hits echoing through empty corridors, mixing with the sound of sled drills and weight room clangs. Could this be the spark that ignites a locker room culture shift? One where every player feels the push to match Chubb's legendary work ethic? Some assistants believe the mere presence of his jersey number on a practice field roster will amplify competitive intensity tenfold. As training camp dawns, every rep takes on life-or-death weight. Will Chubb's first days in padded drills confirm his burst is still there? Will his cuts be as sharp as when he dominated Brown's defenses? Or will we see the slightest hitch that hints at wear? Fans are already scanning every practice clip for signs. One slow-motion replay of him powering through a one-on-one drill sparked 1,000 Twitter threads debating whether he still carries that 0.68-second first step. Yet, even if that initial step is a hair slower, what about his vision and instincts that turned would-be tacklers into pancakes time and again? Is it possible that those intangibles age like fine wine, delivering production beyond mere speed? Offensive. Coaches have reportedly drawn up new series featuring a double dive look. Chubb lined up behind the left guard with Swift motioning across the backfield, freezing linebackers before they can swarm either gap. Could this exotic gap scheme become the Bears' bread and butter? Something opponents fear so much they redesign entire run defenses around it? And what if Johnson counters by flipping personnel, running Swift off left tackle while Chubb bullies an 8-man box? The chess match possibilities feel endless, and every leaked snippet of a new package sends fan podcasts into meltdown with speculative game plans. Meanwhile, ticket holders are already talking about October snow games, picturing Chubb plowing through a frozen Lambeau crowd in a primetime showdown that could define the season. Seasonal ticket sales spike the moment local radio hosts tease the Chubb rumors, and merchandise pre-orders reportedly overloaded the team store's e-commerce servers. Could this renewed fan frenzy lift the entire franchise's valuation, turning Soldier Field into one of the league's toughest road environments once winter descends? Some executives say the ROI on a single-star signing can eclipse 3 draft picks in buzz alone. On the defensive side, opponents are scrambling. Coaches from Green Bay to Detroit have already scheduled extra run-fit walkthroughs, inserting pseudo-Chubb scouts in practice to simulate his inside zone power. Could this preemptive focus on run stops leave them vulnerable to Chicago's passing attack, especially with Kmet and Burden looming in the slot and boundary? Fans are asking if opposing play callers will choke on third and manageable, worried more about Chubb's thunder than any deep shot downfield. The pressure to adapt quickly feels immense, and that is exactly the strategic edge polls gambled on. Finally, looking beyond the gridiron, imagine the narrative arc if Chubb launches the season with back-to-back 100-yard games or scores a goal-line touchdown in his debut. Would that lock in a Pro Bowl selection and force a second-year option, cementing his Chicago legacy? Or might a slow start ignite fresh debate over age and durability, turning pundits into Monday morning quarterbacks overnight. In the end, this signing is more than a transaction. It's a storyline that could be written in epic chapters or shrunk to footnote status. Either way, Chicago's heartbeat just got louder, and we'll be here chronicling every pulse.